So I'm making a video about how the lesson 1 for the math map is the instructions for the parents on how to do the rest of the lessons. And I wanted to go over a little bit here in this video about that. One of the things I noticed is the beginning part where they want to have a discussion with the artwork and the quote and the reflection. It works a lot better for older kids or adults where they did the beta testing for 12-year-olds. They're not as much into discussing this stuff, even with a lot of prompts and a lot of 5 common topic questions that I was bringing up. I got a lot of blank stares. I think as the year goes on and progresses, they will get more comfortable and there will be a lot more discussion. But to begin with, I went ahead and went through and highlighted a bunch of stuff in the contribution to the conversation that I thought would be good conversation starters themselves. But to make it easy to go through the actual seminar, I went ahead and highlighted it for myself to make sure I knew what I was talking about. And I think this will be a good conversation starter. I'm going into lesson 2, and I have this highlighted as well as a lot of stuff in lesson 2 highlighted to discuss with the students. So that's that part if you want to start off with the discussion. And then, of course, we have the math map itself, the invention, and the memoria and arrangement, which this is kind of a big overview. It'll make much more sense in the individual lessons. But what I really wanted to highlight is here, and you can see I've already cut mine apart because I store it a different way after I've used it. So on this page, which would be normally your lesson page 1. So you see a 1 down in the corner here. So normally in the lessons, this is where the actual work part starts that they have to do. But for the lesson 1, it's actually your instructions as the parent. And the part you want to look at, especially for the instructions, is the top third of each page. And it describes exactly how to go through each lesson. The second third of each page this is only in the lesson 1 ex nihilo. So the top third is your instructions as the parent. The middle third is just some things to talk about with your student. There are a couple of questions to answer, but not a whole lot. It's just more like getting you thinking. That part will be later in the lessons. And then the bottom part is examples of seeing the unseen, because as the year progresses, we are going to be looking for math in the world. And we want to keep track of seeing the unseen. So seeing math in the world. And then in lesson 29, as it tells you up here, they will have a booklet that the lesson 29 in their complex booklets is blank, and it is where they're going to put all their examples of seeing the unseen. So realize as the parent, right now, going through it, go through lesson 1 and go through the top third. That's the part you really want to focus on. Now, this part here, it talks about the booklet cover. So it talks about the art, the quotation, and the reflection, and that is what I was just speaking about. It tells you how to go through that and have a discussion with your child about mathematics and the beauty of mathematics, which is wonderful. But like I said, at 12, you're probably going to get more blank stares than anything. So use that contribution to the conversation. So this is page 1. And now we will go to, here we go, page 2. So this top third here talks about that contribution to the conversation. So that's inside the front cover. Definitely use that. It's got a lot of good information, a lot of good thoughts and ideas. If you don't have anything yourself, I suggest going through that so you can have the conversation with your student about what they're seeing in there. And then you'll see here it says include your own contribution to the conversation in lesson 29, seeing the unseen. So that's what yours and your student's contribution is going to be, is from there. Now, this was, page 2, so we're going on to page 3. And now it talks about the math map. And you can see here, I'm going to scoot it up a little bit here. It says page I1. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you in lesson 2. So this would be your front cover with your art, your quotation, and your reflection. And this does not have it highlighted because this is my son's, but my complex has a bunch of stuff highlighted to talk about. And then this is Too close, sorry. I2. You can see that there. So an I2 is your invention. So you can see that right there, invention. And then I3 is going to be your memoria and arrangement. So as you're going through a regular lesson, you are going to take this instruction from Ex Nihilo talking about, I'm sorry, this was the front of the booklet. They're still talking about the front of the booklet. So you can use this stuff, and then they're talking, I skipped ahead, so forgive me. So this is where they're talking about dimension and domain. So let's go back. So we talked about the contribution to the conversation. This is what they're talking about on that page there on your lesson 3 page of Ex Nihilo. They're talking about how you actually have a map for the math map. So these are your domains across here. These are your dimensions. This is what we go through each week. It's numbered. And then you check off what week you're on. We are on week 2. So we are on complex. Number notation, that's checked off. Okay. We've gone through that. Now back to what I was saying with invention. So now you're going to take your Ex Nihilo book and you are going to look at page 4. Okay, never mind. I'm still behind. They're talking about flashcards here, which are very good. I don't have my flashcards here, but their flashcards are wonderful because it takes all this stuff that you are going to see here in your invention page and your number notation page. It's all of these ideas and things out of context. So for example, I've been going through flashcards with my son, and he has now learned that this symbol right there means subset, but that's because it's just the flashcard that has this sideways, almost a less than symbol, but it's a U instead of a V sideways. So he has learned that that is subset. He doesn't know what that part means, but he knows that if he sees that symbol, it is a subset. So the flashcards are wonderful to use. I highly recommend getting them, especially the number notations and the fractions. Fractions are also good for this age. And go through at least 5 to 10 minutes of flashcards with your student before you even dive into any of the lesson stuff. So this talks about how you want to utilize your flashcards, memorizing math facts, etc. So far, in just a few days, he's already learning a lot. I'm quite surprised because I never even learned what the subset symbol is, and I'm a math person. Okay, now on to page 5 in your Ex Nihilo. Oh, see, I'm still behind. Solutions. Now it's talking about solutions. So it talks about how in the very center of your booklet, you have all the solutions to all the lessons, and you can use these for your student if you just want to check their work, if they've gone through and done all the lesson pages and you just want to see if they've done it right. If for some reason they're getting stuck, the solutions are a great way for them to either look at what the solution is and work backwards from there to see what the answer is and go, okay, so how did they get to that answer? Or if your student isn't even ready for that part, they can use the solutions as copy work. So it works great as copy work, and that's totally fine. They're still going to start to understand the concepts, even if they're just copying them. For example, like when we moved into Latin, I started the songs that we had learned from foundations. At first, I asked the kids, do you know what the first declension is? I got blank stares. I started singing the song. All of a sudden, they realized they didn't know what the first declension was. The same thing is going to happen if they're just copying the answers from the solutions. They're going to do this over and over and over again, and eventually they're going to understand it. So that's what your solution pages are, and those are in the very center of the booklet. So if we go here, they're the small pages. It's easy to find if you're older like me. It's the pages that are very difficult to read. And you'll see down in the corner, the solution is S21. I hope that didn't blur out too much. So that's where your solutions are. They're very center pages. Okay, now we are on to page 6 in your Ex Nihilo book. The regular page 6 here. See page 6? The top third is talking about the charts. See, I'm still not there yet. The charts are the blue pages in your book. These are also helpful. This is everything. So the charts basically consist of all the information for this particular topic that they are going to learn by the end of challenge 4. So as you will see, if we go to the blue pages, which are actually right, you've got your solution pages are the very center. Your blue chart pages are right next to those. And you'll see it says, see, this is lesson 2, page 1. This is everything. So they do not need to know all this right now in complex. This is what they are going to eventually know, and this is their reference. Just like we use the charts for essentials, this is their reference page. They can also use this to help them find solutions to their lessons. Like if you don't want them to go straight to the solutions, you want them to try and find the information. This is a way to research and find information, as well as if they see stuff on their Invention and Memoria page, the Invention or Memoria and Arrangement page, they can, like they want to research something, that information will be in your charts. These do not change. They are the exact same no matter what level, what domain your student is at. So as they move up to the next one after complex for challenge B, challenge 1, challenge 2, etc., these charts are exactly the same. This is why I've taken my booklet apart as the director, and I've just made a charts binder. So all my charts are already in there. So those are your charts pages. Okay, now, so that was page 6, the top third, page 6. So look at page 7, the top third. Once again, your instructions. Now we're finally getting to Invention and Memoria. So it says you'll find this on pages I2 and I3. So we are going to go to pages I2 and I3 in your lesson 2 here. So those are these pages right here. See I2 and then I3 over here. Hopefully I'm not getting it cut off. So now what it says in the instructions, and I'm going to read this out loud because I think it's one of those things you have to hear it at least like 6 or 7 times to finally like go, oh, okay. And like seriously, the light bulb finally went on a little bit brighter for me this week. So it says, think of this 2-page layout as the information to prioritize on the way to mastering the charts. So for complex, this is their information to prioritize for this lesson on their way to mastering those blue pages. Remember, blue pages, they got 6 years to get to those blue pages. Use the 5 common topics on the Invention page. So on this page, use the 5 common topics to talk to your student and get them to think about the stuff they're seeing on the page. To connect and compare related concepts in multiple dimensions independent of lesson or dimension. Okay, so this is just, they're looking at it independent of the lessons because the more they get this information from different areas, my hand gestures really made sense to me there, but I don't think they made sense to you on camera. Sorry about that. Anyway, the more that they get that information from different areas, the more it's going to stick in their head. That's why we do flashcards. And it says flashcards require memorized rapid trained response to discrete words, symbols, and images out of context. So that's one way they're getting it. And then memoria arranges ideas to memorize within broader concepts. So the memoria brings those broader concepts together. So the different flashcards that, like, my son learned what subset was. Well, as you can see in this one, in Invention, it brings all those together. So you've got the equal sign subset is equal to or a subset is superset. So that's going the greater than symbol with a U instead of a V is equal to. So you can see how all these symbols are now all together. So he can use this and see, oh, I see how it fits into a broader range of a bigger topic. It's not just, I learned what subset is, I have no idea. It's like, oh, I see it fits into all these others. Okay, now we're going back to the instructions, page 7. Let's see. Memoria brings those segmented ideas to a single page for comparison. Both forms of memorization are required to develop language skills. Arranging large quantities of facts is a skill used to synthesize data. Studying the I3 pages provides practice in organizing a lot of information. So this is your I3 pages, okay? So that's what you're doing is, it's like your flashcards, but chunked together. Like you have a bunch of flashcards that are the same topic chunked together. So that's what these 2 pages are for. Is just go through with your students, see what they know, what they don't know, what looks familiar, what they're getting from the flashcards, what they're getting from just kind of reading through this. Now, if they're reading through this and going, I have absolutely no idea, that's fine. These pages also do not change. So as they go up in dimensions, these pages are going to be the same. They are going to see these again. So it is fine, okay? The lesson pages are what changes because it is based on what level your student is at and how they're going to take this information and use the lesson to learn the information based on what level they're at right now. Okay, so now that is those pages. Now we go on to page 8. In the ex nihilo, the top third is what we're working on. Careful calculation. So this is in the back of the book. Okay, so I4, you'll see it right there. The way they make this book is your solution pages are the very center. Your charts go right out from that. And then your I pages are the ones that go out. Sorry, these are still your lesson pages. So you have your solutions, your charts, then your lesson pages. So it's a bunch of lesson pages. So your lesson pages are actually broken up by the charts there and the solutions. See, your lesson page ends at page 7. Then you've got charts, and then you've got solutions, and then finishing up charts, and then you go to page 8 for your lessons. So right now it's wanting to jump all the way back to the I pages, which are after the lesson pages. The I4 is where it comes up. So I2 and 3 were before the lesson pages. I4 is after the lesson pages. So this is where it talks about careful calculations. This is extra. So if your student is getting everything and they want more, this is what this is for. So page I4 provides calculating practice beyond flashcards that may include mixed operations and concepts specific to each lesson. The lesson pages 1 through 6 emphasize practice with the language of mathematics and includes words, images, symbols related to the lesson concept. The careful calculations complements the lesson pages with additional calculation practice that is more reminiscent of traditional math sheet than the math map lesson pages. Use careful calculations. You can use it for review or as a test on the lessons. The solutions for the careful the careful calculations are found in the Math Map Companion. So that's where you have to go on to CC Connected and get to the companion, and you can find the solutions there. But if your child needs extra, your student needs extra, this is extra for them. Okay, so that was page 8. Now we are going on to page 9. All right, so inside the back cover. So this is page 9 of your ex nihilo book. We're still in the instructions, okay? So the top third. This gives you extra stuff. So this is your back cover right there for the lesson. So this is where you get conversation starters. So if you need more help with conversation starters, it is up there. By the way, the title of each thing is what these gold bars are for us, okay? So that gives you more conversation starters. And then the next is instructions for the games. So on the back of each booklet, you will have some type of game. So that's where your instructions are right inside that, okay? If you want to play the game with your student, it gives you some action items. So you can see down here, if you want to do more, you can look at the resources you're going to need for next week, this week's calendar. So if you want to do things like, it says it's not too late to join a CC community, which I'm guessing if you're doing this, you've already joined one. Invite a friend to attend. They're just trying to sell their community. If you need another booklet, it tells you how to get another booklet. Okay, so that's what the back cover is for. So that's page 9 of your ex nihilo. So now let's find page 10. We've got kind of a mess going on. All right, so on page 10 of your ex nihilo, it talks about the games. So it's games and manipulative. So you can use that back cover as just kind of some fun way to get into doing the math and get ready for the math. So it's just, they provide a game on every single lesson if you want it, if you choose to use that. And then this talks about the Math Map Companion. Okay, so this is what's online. It kind of gives you more explanation of how the Math Map Companion works online. And that was page 11. So on page 12 for your instructions, it just talks about what I just kind of went over, titles and bars. So on each page you will see, even go to the lessons here talks about, this is your titles in your bars. So this talks about, we're learning the power of nothing in this box. Well, in this bar across here, we're learning about dimensions and domains, complex equals real plus imaginary. We're learning about that in this box. So that's what those titles are for. Everything has a title to tell you what you're learning underneath. Okay, and then here's the last part about the actual lesson pages. It gives you ideas of strategies for practice. What you want to do is do 4 pages a day. It's 16 pages of lessons, so that should be 4 days worth of work if you do 4 pages a day. Don't think that you are actually having to calculate a lot of stuff. Read the instructions carefully. So you can choose if you want to do lesson pages 1, 2, 3, 4, then 5, 6, 7, 8, then 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. It just gives you different ideas on how to do those lesson pages here. And then one thing to be careful of is look at what the instructions are. So it is not telling you that you need to learn all about dimensions. It's saying complete the sentences. So at some point in your math booklet, this particular one, you should be able to find the different phrases where these are to be able to complete the sentence. So it's kind of like, okay, hunt for that information and fill it in there. And then here, discuss and compare the Euler diagram. So it's not talking about like you have to recreate it or anything. It's just you learn about the Euler diagram back here on your Invention page. So like talk with your student, like what do you see? What's the difference between that and the Venn diagrams? And that's all it's asking you to do there. And then down here, you'll see it just says copy. So this chunk right here, all they're doing is copying it over. That's it. So the instructions are really easy for when I get together with your students on Tuesday. I'm actually going to have them go through and highlight the instructions. I recommend, if for some reason they don't get highlighted when we are in seminar, go through and just highlight the instructions. It's the ones in bold everywhere. So just look for the stuff in bold and highlight that so they don't go beyond what the actual instructions are. It looks daunting when you first see it, but most of it, it's just actually pretty easy. You're just looking at what the instructions are telling you to do. Okay, that should be it for the math map. I am sorry that was so long, but hopefully that helps you understand a little bit more what your Ex Nihilo book is for. It is just instructions for you, and now mine's a mess, so we're going to pretend it's not. There. So this is your instruction booklet on what to do with each part of this. Concentrate on that upper third of each page within it. So just realize it doesn't look like the other one. So concentrate on that upper third to help give you ideas of what you need to do. Hopefully this was helpful.